Cool. So with SEO, the most important thing is this focus key phrase right here. So this focus key phrase is the point of your story. And just a note about picking one, you want to go general enough that people will search for it, but specific enough that you're not competing with, say, the New York Times for soil degradation coverage. So
Right.
it
Yeah.
would,
Sometimes what I'll do is I'll do a search for the phrase and I'll see how many, like on the page, and I'll see how many times it comes up, right?
great.
That can help, right?
Mhm,
Because the SEO wants you to have it a bunch of times.
mhm. Yeah, they want and all SEO is it's an algorithm that Google puts out there to see, well, it's kind of hacking the algorithm. Google, when they search for you, checks so many things. If you type in anything, they will check to make sure that a page is quote unquote uh like worthwhile. They'll check to make sure it's reliable. That's the word I was looking for.
Mhm.
And part of that is looking at how you link to yourself and how you link to other pages to support what you're doing, how many other pages link to you, the alt text of your photos. So all of
Alt
that,
text of your photos is a total hack.
it is.
It's a total hack because alt text is originally to help people with
Mhm.
disabilities who have readers, but it's been hacked for SEO.
Absolutely.
It's annoying.
Um, all of that will show up in your analysis, right? So you put in your top key phrase. This one's a little specific. We might not get it to work, but soil degradation is a little general. So let's see. We'll go through some things. The first thing you can do, your title will probably be too long.
Mhm.
And normally the site title is another one of these purple buttons. So you just delete the button and you add back in NC Health News. And
Mhm.
look, it's already happy with us. It tells
Right.
us.
It's happier. It's so much happier. I also get rid of the separator.
Ooh,
I
well,
think
it's
I'm
happy
sure
now.
if it works. Sometimes, like if I'm really like short, like short on characters, I'll get rid of the separator.
Okay, that totally makes sense. So just to show y'all, you delete a block and it is as if it was never there. I'll add
Mhm.
one again because we have the room.
Right.
And then you grab your subtitle here and you put it in your meta description. So these also, okay, this one's a little too long. Here's a really easy way to fix that. North Carolina becomes NC. Yay.
And for me, what I would do is I'd say, um, I would make it with rising temperatures and longer hot seasons. What NC farmers need to do to create healthy soil, and I would try making that into my SEO term.
Healthy soil. Okay. So
Hey.
now it's too short.
Okay. All right. So that was bad idea.
But honestly, that's why this is fun. It's like a little puzzle game to see how Google will be friends with you. But no, I agree. That's definitely a much more like to the point way to
Mhm.
say that. So one thing that can help is you put in synonyms. Like we're never going to rank for the word soil, but it did
Oh,
turn our SEO analysis green because we used it so much.
oh, wow. Okay.
Um,
Mhm.
you can also think of just what are some other ways people will look for this story, right? Climate, climate change is a little general. Um, see what happens if you put in soil degradation due to, how do you spell degradation? Oh my goodness. Um, due to climate change. It's probably not going to be in there, but since we're already green, it should be fine.
Right. Sure.
If it doesn't turn green when you put in some synonyms, and that's everything, I had NC soil degradation up here is our focus key phrase,
Mhm.
and just soil degradation here. So you just want to make sure like any version of something that somebody would search to get here is
Mhm.
here in your key phrase synonyms. This is where you get really specific and really general.
Mhm.
So then below, if this doesn't flip green from the synonyms, it'll tell you what it doesn't like. Our focus key phrase NC soil degradation was found 0 times. That's definitely not ideal, but also you're not going to write like that. I just did that because it was in the headline. And
Right.
sometimes that's the hardest. Oh, it wasn't even in the headline. It wants,
Take out the NC, see what happens.
well, it should be fine. It'll probably work. But I think if we can be more specific, so we're not competing, then we should.
Mhm.
So this was just the suggested key phrase when I opened this story. If we don't ever say the word soil degradation though.
Right. Where was the key
Okay.
phrase? Well, you mean like that was the one that Will put in,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
the author put in?
Mhm.
Okay.
We do say it now, it's just not catching up.
Right. Okay. Sometimes I'll do a update or, you know, something like that. And then sometimes that helps it catch up. Okay. Just so, and we're updating this story is already live. The most important thing is that we didn't change the slug,
Yes.
right?
Definitely.
Because the slug would, then that would change the URL for the story. So if we're doing this after the fact, you have to be really careful not to change the slug.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How about, what if we do some related key phrases down below?
Sure.
Sometimes that can help you turn
That's a good idea.
things green, right? So instead of soil health, that's where you put in, like, I'm just scrolling through the story here,
Mhm.
right? And there's like nutritious foods, nutritious food. Let me see.
Okay, so then it pops up with the problems it has with that. So
Right.
it's only in there 3 times. It's not in your meta description, which is this little thing right here.
Right.
Oops, but it can be.
Right. Aha. Oh, take out the dashes and make those commas.
Oh, that makes sense too.
That saves you a couple characters.
Let's see.
Well, I mean, you could just do it in the meta description.
Well, I cut a piece.
Oh, look at that. Nutritious foods in it. And longer hot seasons. Right.
Yeah, I think that's still too long.
Rats. Okay. Yeah,
Mm,
it's playing with that, right? Because it gets cranky when that's too long.
mhm. Okay, so
Okay.
back to green there, and okay, well, it took that 1 point away. In the image key phrase. So I guess with the related key phrases, with the overall search, you can have up to 4 bullet points red. So, or
Right.
red or orange. So
Red or orange, right.
3 red, 1 orange, vice versa. It'll still go green overall.
How about another key phrase? That's
Sure.
where we put in the climate change.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
See how it feels about that one.
You see, hot, that's only 3 times. How about just climate change and climate? There's 12 matches for climate.
So its only problems here are that it's not in the introduction and we don't have alt attributes in our image with at least half the words for this.
Got it.
I think changing the alt, let's go look at that. Because that is a good thing to talk about.
So update, hit the update. I always hit update before I go and futz with the you know, photos, right?
Totally tracks. Yeah.
So now this is the thing that annoys me. This is how the SEO has hacked. This is supposed to be that when somebody has a web reader, that it's saying, it's telling them what's in the field, right? And then, but then the SEO gods say, oh, it's got to have SEO key phrases. And that's really annoying. So I kind of work it in sometimes.
Oh, same. Yeah. So let's see what climate change, nutritious food, it is, and soil degradation. I
Mhm.
mean, shows a
Cultivated.
recently cultivated agricultural field
Ooh.
used to grow nutritious food,
In-
fight soil degradation. I can get all of them to climate change.
Woo, girl. You got it. You have to hit that update so we get the
Yep.
little circle. Right. So now you set the featured image again. Right.
So yeah, unfortunately, do they? Yeah. So unfortunately, if you've already set the image, it
Right.
doesn't always pick up on your changes.
Well, that's why sometimes I replace the image
Okay. I'm
and then like,
gonna like save that just to make sure.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then go back. Make sure it has. Yep, it sure does. Let's see.
And then update.
Huh, it changed. It said something else and then what did it say?
Yeah,
Sorry.
sometimes it'll do things like it'll be green, then it goes to orange, and you're like, anyway, but
So
this
it
helps.
knows that it has the alt tag now.
Nonetheless, Shelby, what
Mhm.
this means is that people using those search terms, it'll find us more easily.
True.
Right? It doesn't, I mean, we've already gone green on the overall SEO on the page, right? So we're not going to improve that. But what this does is it gives readers who are looking for something about soil degradation and climate change, it makes it more likely that this will come up higher in their search.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. So that is how you do SEO.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Well, the
Uh,
subheads make a difference, right? Because sometimes it's helpful to have because you've got a header, right? It's you're saying that it's a header, so sometimes it helps to have one of your SEO terms as a header, as a
Definitely.
subhead, right?
Yeah. That is definitely good for SEO.
And then the other thing that always happens is that with the subheads is that one of the ways that SEO will punish you is if your sections are longer than 300 words, which is part of the reason why I love subheads, right? Because I use, and so sometimes I'll break up someone's section in half. And so maybe I don't get, maybe the section was 620 words. Well, I get one of them under 300, and that helps the SEO too.
Perfect.
Yeah. So sometimes people like when I'm editing, that's some part of what I'm thinking about too.
Great.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll stop the recording here.